Think about this very carefully. When was the last time you walked into a store, looked at the prices, and didn't feel a little angry? Not shocked, not confused, angry. Because deep down, you know something's wrong, you're earning money, you're trying to be responsible, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and yet, your money feels like it's disappearing. Not stolen, not lost, just weaker. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is inflation. And once you understand it, you'll never look at money the same way again. We will begin with a personal matter. You go grocery shopping. You take the same things that you always purchase, same brand, same quantity. You reach at the counter, the total flashes on the screen. Your mind hitches for a moment, recoiling at the sheer absurdity of the price. You remain silent, though. You just swipe your card and walk away. Why does it seem that this is more difficult than it was before? That feeling? It is experienced by millions of people on a daily basis. And that is the way inflation manifests itself. Not in headlines, not in charts, but in moments like that. The problem of inflation is not mere increases in prices. That's the symptom. The real definition is this. Inflation refers to the loss of the purchasing power of money. In simple terms, your money still exists, it just buys less. Think of money like ice. On leaving it out, it melts slowly away. No noise, no drama. One day, it's just smaller. That's inflation. Inflation doesn't arrive like a sudden calamity. It settles in like a habit. A small price hike here, another there, and your brain simply adapts. You stop noticing your lost purchasing power and quietly begin to alter your life instead. You purchase less expensive substitutes. You go out less. You cut back quietly. And one day you realize your lifestyle has changed without your permission. This is why inflation is hazardous. It doesn't ask. Was life actually cheaper before? People often say, it used to be cheaper in the past. They're right, but not that the world was better in magic. It is because the dollar was more powerful. One single income was sufficient to feed a family. Rent was manageable. Education was not like sentence of life debt. Money worked harder. Now, money gets tired faster. Here's the key question. Why does everything seem to be getting more expensive at the same time? Food, fuel, housing, healthcare, education. That's your clue. When one thing becomes expensive, that is a market problem. What happens when it all becomes costly? That's inflation. System-wide, and it does not occur accidentally. Imagine a small town. There are only 100 houses. All of a sudden, the government pays people enormous sums of money that they do not earn. Was the number of houses increased? No. So what happens? People bid higher. Prices rise. And that is what takes place when there is a massive injection of cash into an economy and a corresponding lack of goods and services. More money, same stuff, higher prices. It is not necessarily a matter of greed and inflation. At times, it can be on imbalance. Now let's talk about supply. The majority of people do not even consider the way in which products arrive at them. Factories, ships, trucks, warehouses. A single hitch anywhere has an impact on the whole. When factories shut down, when shipping slows, when materials are scarce, goods get more difficult to obtain. And when the harder it gets to get, it becomes more expensive. There is nothing like scarcity that increases prices. Energy does not only energize your house, it powers the economy. Fuel moves trucks, electricity runs factories, gas heats buildings. So when energy prices rise, all that is energy dependent increases as well, which is everything. Energy inflation is so strong that way, it doesn't just raise prices, it amplifies them. Here's where it gets tricky. With increasing prices, individuals suffer. They ask for higher wages, that's reasonable. However, businesses at the time increased prices to pay up more labor. Now prices go up again. Workers now require even more money. This is the inflation loop. And when once begun, it is difficult to be stopped. Everyone is reacting. No one is in control. Here is something that the majority of people do not realize. People anticipate faster increases in inflation. Companies increase their prices prematurely. People are also quick to purchase before the prices increase. Employees want to see an increase in salary. Everyone acts defensively, and such actions drive the prices up. Inflation feeds on fear. Not all people are adversely affected by inflation. People with assets, houses, business, investments often benefit. But people who rely on wages, they struggle. Inflation punishes savers, fixed incomes and stability, and it compensates leverage and ownership. This is why inflation will lead to inequality. Let's talk about raises. When you earn a 5% increment, but the inflation is 8%, you didn't win. You lost. This is the reason why people are tired. They are trying their best to fight even to be in the same spot. It is inflation that makes a gain of survival. This is the unpleasant fact. Prices rarely fall. When companies increase prices, they hardly decrease them. Fighting inflation is not to restore the low cost of living. It is to prevent its further deterioration. And that is the reason why inflation leaves scars. Can governments stop it? Yes. But it's painful. They raise interest rates. Borrowing becomes costly. Spending slows. Businesses pause hiring. Inflation cools, but so does growth. Every solution has a cost. There is no painless fix. Money is not the only thing that is influenced by inflation. It affects choices, you delay plans, you postpone dreams, you feel uncertain, and doubt brings about anxiety. Inflation does not simply work to make wallets smaller, it shrinks confidence. Inflation isn't a villain, it's a signal, an indicator that demand, supply, money, and expectations are in disequilibrium. It's the economy speaking, and right now, it's shouting. Inflation does not only increase prices, it resets society, quietly, without a warning label. As prices increase more rapidly than wages, individuals do not simply spend less, rather people consume less. They change priorities. Dreams get delayed, plans get smaller, risk-taking disappears. People no longer ask, "What do I want?" and begin to inquire, "What can I still afford?" That change makes everything different. Innovation slows. Entrepreneurship feels risky. Creativity takes a back seat to survival. Inflation doesn't scream, it slowly presses the reset button on ambition. Let's talk about savings. This is where the inflation is mean. You do the right thing. You save money, you're patient, you're disciplined. But inflation doesn't care. Suppose your savings are getting 2% interest and the inflation is going up 8%. Your money is dwindling even when it lies secure in the bank. You didn't spend it, you didn't waste it. Yet it's losing value anyway. Patience is a vice rewarded with inflation. That is why people are compelled to take risks they never intended to take. This is where the twist comes in, which most people are not looking forward to. Inflation hurts savers, but it can help debtors. Why? Since you are repaying loans in weak money. The value decreases, but the amount remains constant. This is the reason why governments are not afraid of inflation like individuals are. There is less difficulty in debt. But for regular people, wages do not increase at a rapid rate, so debt becomes a trap. Inflation favors the strong and oppresses the weak. People often ask, is that the way inflation has always been? Yes and no. Inflation has been there always. The difference here, however, is the speed at which everything changed. Prices soared, and people did not get time to readjust. Savings did not have an opportunity to increase. Wages lagged behind. The shock wasn't gradual, it was sudden. And sudden inflation is betrayal. Inflation does not only empty the wallets, it drains trust. Trust in institutions, trust in systems, trust in the future. When individuals lose faith in the idea that tomorrow will be even better than today, they stop planning long-term. They live short-term. Such an attitude reforms whole generations. Inflation is not only an economic phenomenon, it's a psychological one. Learning about inflation will not make the prices miraculously fall. It won't fix rent overnight. It will not reduce grocery expenses tomorrow, but it endows you with something strong. Awareness. You stop blaming yourself. You learn not to think that you spend money badly. You see the forces at play. And once you see them, you are able to improvise rather than to panic. Since inflation does not just happen to you, it is something you learn to live with. And the more you know it, you survive it better. Next time you are frustrated by an item price, remember this: you're not failing. The system is under pressure. Inflation is not just rendering things costly, it's changing how people live. And the knowledge does not solve it miraculously, but it brings you something valuable: clarity. And when the money seems to be slipping away in a world, clarity is power. Subscribe, like, comment to our channel if you like this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.